generally a myth going around that architecture is not a lucrative profession.
See, let us firstly not compare a profession with a job. Whether it's a doctor or a lawyer or a chartered accountant or whatever you may see, the starting is always low. Let me tell you, it's the only profession where you will see something which you have designed come to life, and you'll be standing in front of it, thumping your chest and saying, yes, it's mine.
I think where the kind of irritation, I would say, with younger folks entering the practice is that perhaps we're losing that idea of what architecture can be. Every line that you draw makes meaning to something that will come up in reality. There is nothing more gratifying and satisfying than that.
I've been able to convince my clients not by doing 3Ds, but by sitting in front of him and then sketching the thing out that this is how it will be, this is where people will go and all that. And that famous hanging staircase at the Reva University, hanging from in that atrium, is 300 metric tons of steel.
Wow.
Which is hanging 8 floors.
See, designing is a very important responsibility, and every decision a designer makes, it affects the performance of a building, efficiency, sustainability, affects somebody's quality of life.
We got a first school, second school. The second school got a All India award. So that sort of gave us a boost. And that got us the third and the fourth. And finally, we landed so much into schools, it's become 130.
Wow. More than 100 schools.
We need to adapt to the market. Market will not buy what I make. So we do adapt, we are very receptive, and we are continuously focused on innovation.
Super.
Otherwise, we will not exist.
You're designing for the end user and not for yourself.
You are actually shaping someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why it is called mother of all arts.
Welcome to IIID BRC's 7th podcast, featuring the well-known father and daughter duo of architects, architect Dinesh Verma and architect Akshara Verma, along with the man of the fenestration, US Murthy, who was with NCL and now the managing director of VEKA. Welcome, DV Sab.
Hi, Vish. How are
Nice
you?
to see you.
Hi.
Welcome, Akshara. Welcome, US Murthy.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure.
Let me have the pleasure of requesting the 3 distinguished guests to introduce themselves to the context of the design fraternity. DV Sab.
Hi, I am architect Dinesh Verma, and one of the old IIID fraternities. Started my life here in 1984 and developed Ace Group Architects, which today has grown into a facility where we provide architectural services all over the country and abroad.
Lovely. What about you, Akshara?
I'm Akshara. I'm an architect by profession and joined the practice at Ace Group in 2016. So blink and miss, it's been a decade. And of course also an active part of the IIID community.
Over to you, Mr. US Murthy.
I am US Murthy. I am the managing director of VEKA India. VEKA is a German-based company and a market leader in uPVC window profile systems. I have been in the fenestration industry for over 37 years. We have been regularly collaborating with the IIID fraternity and very happy and to engage in the podcast today.
Wonderful. Welcome to the podcast once again.
Thank you so much.
Dinesh Verma, by the way, is also given a lot of short forms, and one of them is called DV. DV sir, tell me, there is generally a myth going around in the circle saying that architecture is not a lucrative profession. And the parents think that, they compare somebody to an IT industry when they start work. So how do you dispense with this myth? And who says architecture is not a lucrative profession? Look at this lovely farmhouse of DV's. So what would you say for that?
See, let us firstly not compare a profession with a job. Architecture is a profession like a doctor's or a lawyer's or a chartered accountant's or whoever. And in every profession, the starting point is something which sort of sows the seeds into what you will go tomorrow and start something on your own and further. Unlike an IT job, where you'll be in a job, always in a job, and continue being in the job.
And stagnate to be in the job.
Yes. And any of these professions which I am talking about, whether it's a doctor or a lawyer or a chartered accountant or whatever you may see, the starting is always low. But it gives you so much of energy. It gives you so much of, I would say, the thing required to survive on yourself and move further, which you cannot ever imagine. You get into architecture and you work with somebody. Let me tell you, it's the only profession where you will see something which you have designed come to life.
Yeah.
In any other profession, you may just be designing the nut bolt of a particular machine or doing a little bit of some software. Nowhere else you will get that type of satisfaction where you say you have designed it and you will be standing in front of it, thumping your chest and saying, yes, it's mine.
And it's also like a little baby for us.
Absolutely.
You know, and you see it grow, you construct it, you design it, you construct it, you finish it, you hand over, and you still have that same warm feeling like how you have it for a child.
Very true.
So I think it should be looked upon as a profession where every single hour or a single day is much different from the rest of the days. So, Akshara, you are a youngster and you've been I won't call it a brilliant student because a brilliant student is something in math and physics. Ours is both art and engineering. I remember Professor Anantakrishna mentioning many times to me that Akshara was my student. You know, you've been a fantastic student. You've been surrounded in architecture. How would you dispense this myth of people wanting to join architecture, but the parents saying that it's not a lucrative profession? And also, what is it that you brought into the ACE group as a youngster? What did you bring in?
Yeah, I think I have to completely agree with how, gratifying our profession is, right? Like right from the fact that every line that you draw makes meaning to, to something that will come up in reality. And then you experience that reality at some point. I think there is nothing more gratifying and satisfying than that. And I think where the kind of irritation, I would say, with younger folks entering the practice is that perhaps we're losing that idea of what architecture can be, right? And I think that optimism that the profession requires to, get up every day and keep going. It's kind of like training for a marathon. But I think most of us, all of us in the profession love it. We love every single day of our work and, what our work brings us every day.
So you tend to also mentor your youngsters when they come to, because they would look upon you as something, instead of me or DV Saab kind to mentor them, they would look upon a youngster and say, what you talk about it and things like that, right? I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest advantage of being in this kind of multi-generational practice, right? So there's a lot of us younger ones who are kind of looking at mentorship in a different way. We're trying to build new things. And then there's, of course, all the wisdom that we require to, because there's, ultimately a timeless kind of profession. So there's that, I think that combination that always works well in a profession like ours.
So I think the myth has to be dispensed, saying that you do something for your pleasure. You do something for your satisfaction. It's like a baby growing. And then the fruits will definitely come by.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a baby growing with massive impact, Like we're surrounded, everything about us, in a built environment is something that an architect touches upon, right? So I think the impact is also huge.
Yeah, impact is huge. You want to be a developed nation, we need to have nice, good buildings, good infrastructure, right? Mr. Murthy, now for you, what role can an architect play in your business? Like how important an architect or a designer is for your profession?
See, architects play a very important role in our profession. We consider architects more than specifiers. They are very key influencers and they are the actual value creators across the construction ecosystem, what I would like to say. See, architects, they shape a vision for a project that can translate into reality when they choose the right materials. And coming to fenestration, the choice of materials is very critical because it impacts the architecture and aesthetics, energy efficiency, sound acoustics, and overall performance. And very important is the architect fraternity believes in a system. It accelerates acceptance across the construction industry. This is what I have experienced in my entire career.
So it's kind of going back to dispensing the myth, saying that it's not a lucrative profession. It's more to do with how you impact somebody's life.
Yes.
Architecture is somebody architects are somebody who can impact the person who lives there. You're designing for the end user and not for yourself.
You are actually shaping someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why it is called mother of all arts.
Yeah.
And there collaborating with the right materials becomes very important. And hence for the manufacturers, architects play a very vital role.
Great. I think I hope some of the parents and the future students listen to this. DB Saab, give us some insights of your journey in architecture, right from college days to now. And I'm very keen to know if you have a mentor, because you are a great mentor yourself. And don't say no.
Well, I'll tell you something, and the students should listen to this. My college days were very different. When I entered college, my first year, I came in merit. And I met a professor of mine.
You were from REC.
REC Nagpur, yes. So I came in merit, and this professor of mine after that caught me and said, "Oh, you must be feeling great. You have come in merit. But let me tell you, it's not the books which is going to take you further in life." And that type of a thing coming from a very senior professor changed my entire attitude towards education.
So he was the one who told you that.
After that, I stopped coming in merit. I went on. I was always in first class. So at that time, it was 60-30, whatever it is. Went on in life. Joined IIT after that. But never right on the top. Always been a backbencher. Enjoying life. Doing my work in time. But followed one sentence. Whatever I did in life. And by whatever, I really mean whatever. Whether I was fighting with somebody, whether I was going on a hunger strike with my friends, whether I was going and, pushing somebody because they are not giving me a cinema ticket, whatever I did, or whether I was doing my design or something, I would put my heart and soul in it.
Lovely.
And that is what brought me up. And that is what today also my clients tell me. That yes, Dinesh, we know that whatever you are going to do, we can believe in you, we can trust in you, and we take it further from there.
What are your, in the same breath, what are the kind of breakthroughs you had? Something exciting for the youngsters to, and all of us to listen to. What are the breakthroughs in your career?
Well, the breakthroughs have been, firstly, when I would say the type of confidence which you need to imbibe on clients, and let me give you an example here, which is a true life incident. I was doing a corporate, I had a corporate client. We did a lot of work. They said yes, 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 yes. And finally, I would tell them, well, let's sign up and give the advance. So the big boss said, we have liked everything, but we haven't seen your office. And my office at that time was only in the evening from 7 to 9. We never had a daytime of the office at all.
Because you were working somewhere, right?
I was part-time.
That is important.
I was teaching somewhere and things and all. We start not with something. I'd never had a godfather in life. We really struggled and worked further. So I never said no to them. I said, yes, come over.
You took him home.
No, I fixed up a date. I said on so and so time in the afternoon, 2:30, come to my office. And on that day at 2:30, the house was full of 2-3 draftsmen, a couple of phone calls, a couple of these things, one fellow giving chai. And the set was there for about 3 hours. They came, they saw, and we conquered.
Wonderful.
Oh, wonderful.
That was superb.
So what I'm trying to say is that you need to take that step extra in a different way also.
And don't get dejected
Yes,
saying that I don't have an
dejected.
office.
Now what should I do? Not what should I do? Oh, that should never affect you.
And what about mentors?
Mentors, I've never had a single architect. There's not been a person whom I follow diligently, but I definitely went through a lot of books. I went through a lot of, I would say architects. I always thought that, when we were being taught history, they said history of modern architecture. Now, how can there be history of modern architecture? Modern is modern, it cannot be history. So, I was that type of a person. But, whether it was Frank Lloyd Wright or Louis Kahn or so many people who are there, even in modern this thing, I've been following them up, but not as a guru or as a major mentor. I picked up a lot of things from them. I do salute them.
True. It's not some one person or two people who have guided your career, but it will be. So, Akshara, in the same breath, if I were to ask you, because you had somebody at home, your mother is a very accomplished lady, you had your grandparents, you had your, obviously, father was always there to mentor. Now, what was your mentorship? Whom did you look upon when you were growing up, and how did you go about the whole thing?
It's actually funny, but I think I had the exact opposite kind of academic. I'm listening to the story for the first time today, but I was.
You were a very diligent student.
I think in school I was like an average student, right? I mean, in this, I would take part in everything, so I was really like an all-rounder. But academically, I was, kind of happy-go-lucky. But I think when I came to architecture school, I felt like, oh, I found my calling. This is beautiful, and I think architecture also kind of happened by chance. It wasn't something that was, like discussed and deliberated in the house.
Or you just followed, you wanted to be like dad and you followed
Yeah,
something like that?
I don't know. I remember wanting to be a journalist and write for a really long time. And then my mother was very disappointed, of course. Computers, that's the future. Why are you not doing this?
Yeah.
And then architecture happened by chance. We were a big gang of us. In our batch, actually, we were 7 architects from my school. So it's quite a big number.
7 architectural parents.
No. 7 of us as students joined.
From your school.
From my batch.
Let me clarify, not from the school. 7 of them who were together right from kindergarten till 12th.
Wow.
From the same class, joined architecture together.
Yeah.
See, then where are we talking about the dearth? We have so many.
Yes.
Though that's really nice. Nice to hear that.
Yeah, but I think from mentorship, I think, I would always say like my father's been a great mentor, but he was, through college, one of these absolutely non-interfering parents, okay? So I don't think he had a clue about what I was doing in college, what my projects were, who I applied to do my internship. I was a big Baba Bhakt, I think, at that point in college.
So you had a mentor like Baba?
And I chased
mentor
Sri
in
Lanka.
the sense you followed him.
Yeah. So, I was very fascinated by his drawings, did my internship in Sri Lanka. Which, and Sumanga Jaitalake, who I interned with, was like, I loved the work that he did and everything. Then, I said, okay, my first job in Bombay, not one question asked ever, where, what, who, no.
So much of confidence.
So, yeah, there was a kind
bad
of,
parent, basically.
No, so much of confidence, yeah. But that also goes to show that how architecture can spread its wings.
Yes.
At the in Indian subcontinent itself, you could find so many things calling you.
Yes. So my first job was with Sameera Rathod, again, a woman and a practice that I admire very, very much. I would consider her a mentor. She said, you know what, if you want to do a master's, do it now or do it never. And then I applied to one school, got in, went from Bombay to the Netherlands. There happened to work with 2 amazing people. One was a graphic designer. One is a couple who practice at a firm called Ooze in Rotterdam.
So was that an architectural practice it was different?
Architectural practice.
So you had a combination of graphic design along with...
Also because as Indian students, I think we can do many things at the same time.
You're
we're trained to do
you're multi-skilled.
multiple things.
Yeah.
So we could manage, like in a European context, kind of dabble with both things. There was a Biennale in Rotterdam then, so I was, kind of working on...
So you worked for a few years before you went to do your master's?
Yes.
Okay. That's important for all the youngsters to understand that, do you want to complete your bachelor's and go to master's, or do you want to work for 2 years and then... So that gave you a wider perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Just let me add here, for the youngsters who are planning to do architecture or not, for quite some time in my office, there was a time when I was much younger and most of my friends and friend circles and their friend circles, their children were at an age where they wanted to know whether my kid should do architecture or not.
That's a question all of us get.
I would spend half a day with them, call all of them to the office and spend half a day with them around the table, trying to tell them what is architecture, show them slides, this thing and all. And at the end of it, some of them would say, I am definitely doing architecture. And the rest would say, I'm not doing architecture, and go out. So that's the type of, I think, something which should be there in the society where we sort of tell youngsters.
True. Mr. Murthy, let me come to you now. Like earlier, it was always the timber door, the timber, and then the timber windows. And then we used to go to Hunsurti, go to Burmati, go to Rosewood, and so many other things. I remember people going to Dandeli to bring wood, that used to be a big job. And then came in the onslaught of aluminium windows. And then we have this, in fenestration, we have the uPVC windows. So how would you categorize yourself as to what would be the best mentors and other things, the right place for us as architects to use your kind of windows and the fenestration?
See, the most important thing today is windows are an important architectural element also, apart from their functional capabilities. So, and also today what happens is about 30% of a building are windows. So, energy efficiency, sound acoustics, durability, maintenance, buildings are all high rise. You can't have windows where you can keep on painting, replacing. Over a
Are they
period of time.
sustainable too?
uPVC windows are absolutely sustainable.
Wonderful.
The benefit of uPVC windows are they are very durable. Second, they have very, you can say a low U value. The profiles have a low U value, strong on acoustics. And then most important is the carbon footprint during its various stages of production is very low. So it's an environmental friendly material. Another very, very important part is the ease of fabrication installation. The whole window is prefabricated in a factory. So, and today's mass
Right.
construction,
Yes.
this is
Yeah,
an
that's,
ideal
yeah.
product.
Yeah.
So uPVC windows today occupy almost 65% of the market share in developed countries.
Oh, wow.
In India, it's around 25 to 30%. And with our kind of construction,
Yeah.
majority of it being in institutional and residential, and this is a perfect product. And it offers the best value for its benefits.
And just like how we spoke about mentors, and whom do you in your fenestration industry look upon to? I mean, do you have somebody whom you, or some company, some organization, some country, or our country, or you go back to the timber industry? Whom do you look upon to?
See, I started my career in 1989. It was not a business category at all.
Ah,
NCL Secular Limited was the first company in India at the corporate level to set up a window business.
so people look upon you as a leader.
Yeah.
No, I look upon NCL Secular as a visionary for the country to have started
This concept.
this concept. So they were the first ones. So they realized, considering the economic growth, rapid urbanization, they realized that the country needs a better quality of window than the kind of windows what used to be available. Those days we had in residential projects mild steel windows.
Correct.
Z sections are
I know, Z
Z section windows which were stuck with putty.
Ah,
You need to replace that putty every summer before the monsoon and repaint during the monsoon.
Correct.
So they felt the need that there is a demand, there is a,
so that's when they went with a
Yes,
venture.
yes.
NCL went with a
with
venture
a venture called
Veka.
secular steel window. It was a color coated steel window which offers long-term durability for the paint.
No. Then you went with a joint venture with Veka.
That came 18 years later.
Ah, okay.
See, in 89, the window materials were mostly mild steel windows, timber, and low value or low cost or poor quality aluminium windows. So, secular steel windows were the first organized window, you can say, where they had defined a proper system.
Now you talk about, you came to aluminium too, and today with the war going around, we are all feeling the heat because of fluctuation in the aluminium market. It's huge. I mean, so is that an advantage for you, PVC?
Absolutely. Let me tell you one thing. If you see the price trends of aluminium over the past 10 years, it has tripled. And PVC, which is the main constituent of the uPVC window, has been almost steady over the past 10 years, except for uncertain situations, but comes back to normal very soon. And if you look at the overall benefits versus the price, uPVC windows offer a better
Scores
value.
much better.
They offer better value for the benefits what it offers.
So, like how we have mentors, you have no mentors, but you are the mentee
Yes.
Absolutely.
for the industry. Wonderful.
But I would like to add, what has helped me is I spend most of my time, say about 15 years of my early career on the ground, meeting architects, builders, consultants. Important thing what I realized was understanding the customer needs, importance of customer needs, trust, and delivering value.
I'm glad you brought in the architect. We are so happy.
Without architects, there's no existence of construction.
Wonderful. Akshara, now that we've all donned the hat on us, there is a terminology called Nipo baby. It's a term that is passed around for the second generation of professionals. And since you're continuing your dad's practice, how do you respond to this terminology? Nepo baby.
I like that tag actually. I mean, it's a tough one. I think it's to start a practice on your own. Like my father said, no godfather, things like that. It's a different take, right? You have there's a different pace. There's a different pursuit. There's a different kind of action that you set for yourself. But I think joining a practice which is already established has a different kind of, it runs a different course. It needs you to, I would say, a lot of time and maturity to understand that, hey, this is a practice which has a certain process, and here's where it can go. And you have to learn to really sit there, adapt yourself, listen to, everyone's take. And you have to sort of, maybe all your 100% will not be in designing something that, you dreamed of, but it becomes about also understanding how to manage a practice and grow it really and see it somewhere else. And
True. As an architect, we have to be
donning all these hats.
Donning all the hats at different times.
Yeah.
That's why we brought in a hat now. But how do your people who worked with your dad perceive you? That's the question.
I think we'll have to ask them that question. But no, I think it's been a really interesting journey. I think everybody in the office, it's a huge range of people. We have, from 70s to the real babies. And now I feel like I'm already somewhere in the middle.
But let me just add here something which I think me did at one time knowingly.
Okay.
And that knowingly was to keep her away from the office for 6 to 7 years after she finished architecture.
Right.
Yeah.
She worked, as she mentioned before, she worked in Bombay, she worked in Sri Lanka, she worked at other places. So, with that type of a base.
That's a great thing.
When-
I think that's
when
interesting.
she came back to the office,
She brought
so
in-
she was already something.
And she brought in different kinds of practices.
Different kinds of practices, different kinds of things. The hemoglobin of the company grew up, after she came in. But it is whatever she learned at all these places helped us.
So that means you somewhere along the line you were dreaming her to be an architect and take the office forward. Did
Oh,
you?
yes.
What?
Every professional looks forward to it.
Okay.
That yes, you have set up something. Otherwise, at this stage of life, you will be sort of looking forward to what next and how to close it. But here, we are looking forward to how to take it further.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's that whole architecture is such an optimistic practice, and it's
Yeah.
great to still talk about, growth and new
Yes.
things to do.
It was not really a surprise. You kind of mentored to go through that.
I would say it was quite organic, actually.
It was
I don't
quite
think,
Yes.
I don't think there was
As what
ever
the- her initial
pressure.
stages were, she was totally left open-minded. I
there
never
was
interfered
never-
into anything. And that is what brought her
And
to
I think
what
even
she
when
is.
I moved back to Bangalore, there was never a, okay, when are you joining the office kind of question at all. It happened very organically, and I
Yeah.
think and that time helped, because I could understand what all the office is doing and really become interested in it as well.
True. Mr. Murthy, how do you, when there is a father and daughter of two generations, or a mother and son, or a father and son, how would you engage between the two? I mean, because both of them become your architect, both of them become your clients. How would you look at two generations?
See, in my 3.5 decades of career, I have had the opportunity to work with two generations, the senior and the younger generation. I would like to tell you both are different. The senior generation, suppose they're selecting a window, it is more on durability, reliability, proven performance. What is the performance over a period of say 15-20 years? Means the approach is more towards technical depth, proven track record and trust. That is the senior generation. When you come to the younger generation, their thought process is totally different. Their perspective is different. They are totally design oriented. They're totally aware, global trends.
So you kind of need to bring in the design as well as the reliability, both when you come to that.
You need to
marry
bridge
both of
both
them.
the perspectives. You need to bridge both the perspectives. What the younger generation is looking at is innovation, design flexibility, efficiency in energy sound, green building practices.
True.
So these are the
And not something for next 50 years, 100 years. I think they all want to change in 15 years.
I disagree.
Yeah?
The moment you look at efficiencies, the moment you start looking at sustainability, green building practices, you are going to choose a right material. And that will be a sustainable material automatically. So, and here, For a manufacturer like us, it is very important how you bridge the two perspectives. That is vision of the younger generation and the longevity
Wow,
aspiration
that
of
is a
the
lovely one.
older generation.
You brought in lovely things. Now that you have spoken about sustainability, just give me a little bit of how we are going to what does VEKA do, or what does the uPVC window do for recycling
See,
the old material? That's a very important.
See,
it shouldn't go to the dump yard.
no, globally, what happens, even in Germany, VEKA recycles the entire window. It can recycle the old window again and extrude new profiles out of it. In India, what happens, the wastage in the factory, in our factory is zero. Rather, any extrusion in India, extrusion facility in India will have negligible wastage. Post-fabrication wastage can be used in lot of applications. You can keep on using uPVC.
So you don't just junk it.
No, never.
So you're going to reuse it.
You can
that's
keep on.
a very
You can
important
keep
point
on.
that we.
You can keep on
That's an
reusing
interesting
it.
point.
That's really nice.
Yes.
DV Saab, you have the unique distinction. I mean, even at your farmhouse, you have a lovely staircase of combining artistry with engineering. You know, that's one thing which I always keep thinking, the best of the architect would have both the sides work together in a brain. So combining artistry and engineering like your famous stairways and bridges. And how do you incorporate those elements in your design? And the most difficult part, how do you get it executed? The artistry and engineering together.
See, we were talking of some time back as to the influences of different types of architects and the type of people whom I've been sort of trying to follow and all. So one such name, I don't know how many of you all have heard of him, was an American architect, but there's a name called Eros Renin. He's the fellow who designed the Mississippi Lewis Arch. He did the TWA terminal and so many things, and I've always been browsing through his books, his pages and all that. And that is where I always sort of got the inspiration that fine, we should not do anything which is L. It should be XL, XXL, XXXL, and then making it things bigger and bigger and bigger. And that confidence which we got after doing that is that yes, we can do it. On the other side, as what you said, we need people first to design it. Before that, we need people or the clients who will accept it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But in my life, I have been able to convince my clients not by doing 3Ds,
Yeah.
but by sitting in front of him and then sketching the thing out that this is how it will be, this is where people will go and all that. And that famous hanging staircase, you won't believe it. It is at the Reva University, hanging from the atrium, is 300 metric tons of steel,
Wow.
which is hanging 8 floors.
My
Wow.
God.
And that's like a record, and it's been put in so many books. And similarly, we have been doing things which are bigger and bigger. We have done RCC spans which are almost 100 feet by 100 feet.
Wow.
We have, and bigger the better types of.
So actually, you should have a conversation with Calatrava. Because both of you seem to love staircases and bridges. I think
Yes.
that will be a great conversation between two great architects.
So I've been talking to people and especially students that, in fact, I gave a talk in one of the colleges where I said, I'm not going to show you any project. I'm just going to show you some details. So I showed them only staircases. I showed them only floor patterns. I showed them only roof lights.
You only showed them toilets.
Toilets.
Yeah, that was one of the finest presentations I've ever seen.
So, we have to learn from these small things. I designed a toilet for a particular university where you are not standing in a row to pee. It's like the Benz thing. You have the 3 star. So there are 3 people standing next to each other and thing. And
Nice to talk.
Yeah, nice to talk and chat.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in the Singapore airport, when you land and you use the toilet, you can, it's except for that up to about 1.2 meters.
Yes.
The rest is all glass. You can see the planes landing and taking. It's such a nice idea. You feel so relaxed.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to do any meditation. So, Akshara, tell me, talk about your unique projects that you handled and what were the challenges in design and construction?
So
What is your unique project? You're still young, of course.
yeah, but I think I carry a little bit of this, this kida of large span. So I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of, it's one thing to dream, and then it's another thing to kind of work with the engineer and really kind of build something. And I think we always ask okay, what if questions, right? Especially when we're collaborating with our engineers. So we did a sports facility. It's a high performance center in Coimbatore, where okay, conventionally we have trusses and then we have the roof over it. So we said, hey, what if we do the trusses and the roof under it?
Wonderful.
Can we do this?
You don't need a false ceiling at all.
You don't need a false ceiling.
That's
you
the
see
best.
The beautiful,
Yeah,
clean
it's
soffit.
so nice
and
soffit.
it was such fun to do it because right from the client was convinced in the beginning. Then during construction he's like,
Yeah, the
should
contractor
we
was not
not?
for it.
Yeah, the contractor
That's
was like,
another.
why sir? We'll just put it conventionally. What are we really gaining? But then it's like the slow, like mediation and then discussion and this like, okay, why not? Right? And I think that was really fun for us to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that those are very unique challenges, and the beauty about being in architecture is that you work with so many different engineers.
Absolutely.
And you have to bring them together to make sure that your dream comes true.
Yeah.
No?
And you dream with them really. It's
And now, one of her designs, she's spanning a truss,
oh, that is
which is, guess how many meters?
Some 50, 60.
74 meters.
74 meters.
85
Wow.
is the largest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While designing it's on paper, on the
Yeah.
computer screen it is still smaller. But when you go there,
Yeah,
It's
you
huge.
really,
you start wondering whether it's really going to stand or not. It gives you that type of
Feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel so good.
Yes.
Because you're doing something which is bigger than life size.
Yes.
Yeah, these are the excitements that we have, designing staircases,
Yes.
designing, any part. And what's the excitement of being in the fenestration industry?
Fenestration, I think, is the most important element of a building
yeah, I would agree actually.
because apart from functional elements, it determines the design language of the building. It defines the performance of the building. So, I think it is more important than any other material, apart from structural materials, what you use. See, you can repaint, you can put tiles, you can never change windows or a facade.
Dude, that's what is going to be seen outside.
Yes, and very difficult to replace them. You will have to have a proven product,
So that's your excitement.
of course.
Yeah.
And what excites me is I have seen the evolution of the window from MS till here. The journey is going to be even more exciting ahead
Oh,
because the demands of modern urban living will be so high that the journey will be even more exciting ahead. The best is yet to come for the industry.
super. Akshara, this is for you. How do you integrate AI with your designs in your studio and the onslaught of various software integration like BIM, Grasshopper, Lumion, D5? So, how do you segment yourself? I mean, how do you start the starting point of your design, and how do you use them? How do you use them as a tool, or does that take you over?
So I think the firm is, at ACE, we've always believed in, the integration of technology with the process. So, right from, this is something we've also done recently in the office, actually kind of displayed everything as architects that we use as tools, right? Right from, the humble pencil to, protractors and, set squares. And the very first computer that, the office bought, which was in, I think,
1989.
89. Right? So I think from then there was always this need that we need to be at par, and I think as something that complements your process but doesn't drive it, right? So I think the idea of what the building should be, what is the intent of the spaces,
That's yours.
That's yours, and I think that comes from interactions with the client, understanding of the site, and those are fundamentals that you can't really deviate from. But then AI needs to come in. BIM should come in. We should be talking about this because it's making our processes more efficient at that time. So I think if we're still sitting here and generating 15 views because colors need to be different, AI can do that, right? And we need to be open to that.
So it's like using it as a tool for your advantage.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's how you look at it.
Yeah.
DV Saab, in your case, AI in design and various software helps us to design the buildings. But when we all started and when you started, when we started, we were all on drafting boards. Even then we made buildings. It's not that we didn't make buildings. We did make nice buildings. It's newer, fancy ideas. They're all software tools. All that is great. One of the pitfalls that we have with these AI tools is our construction industry has not progressed to that extent. So how do you bridge the gap between what you show to your clients and what you construct? And yeah, how do you make it contextual? Like, for example, ours is a very tropical country. Our climatic conditions are different. So yeah, it can't be done. Europe or Canada could be very different in its. So how would you bring the context of architecture of India to your table? And also, the most important thing is, how do you build such fancy buildings, which we do all these buildings with all these AI tools and all that. How do you do construction?
Well, these are a couple of questions put together. So firstly, the context part of it, and as you rightly said, I started my practice at a time when there were no computers. In fact, during my college days, we haven't even heard the word computer. And at that time, we were taught that for architects, paper is cheap. And now it's the other way around. They say for every piece of paper which you are taking, so many trees are being cut. Now, there's been a total change in thing. And I'm ask Akshara, I think I'm the only person in the office who still doesn't use a computer. I still do my hand sketches. It's always whoever comes to me has to come with a piece of paper. But what I started doing to save paper is that if I take a fresh piece of paper, I first sketch with a pencil. Then on top of it, I take a sketch pen, another project. Then I take a marker. So the same sheet I'm using 2 or 3 times just to sort of show it to the office that yes, I am also concerned about the environment.
Oh, that's nice. I think that the youngsters should
So,
follow this. Yeah.
we do come out with these things. Your other question, as far as construction is concerned, let me tell you, I've been very positive. I've seen the way construction has been sort of evolving over the past 40 years.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, we are evolving at a very fast speed. We have projects today where we do not issue blueprints. Okay? So you imagine the amount of paper and savings and all that thing. I'm talking the environment. I'm not talking the money. We have projects where the people are going around with iPads. So all the drawings are on the iPad. They say dining block, this block, that block. They open the thing and we discuss it there itself.
But my question is more to do with our construction industry.
Yeah. I'm coming to that. As far as the construction industry is concerned, what we have achieved now in terms of the type of centering, the scaffolding, the aluminium thing which have come up, right? The precision which is required there, everybody is using RMC, nobody is doing the hand this thing. So it has evolved and evolved and evolved right from a time where even huge dams were done manually to today where we are doing precise buildings. And I congratulate the private building industry. Wherever you go today, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Bombay, all the big places which we talk about, the moment you are inside the building, it is as good as what you will see anywhere abroad.
So
it's only when you come out on the road, you realize that fine, you're back in India. Yeah. So the construction industry, the way we finish materials, Murthy was talking about an NCL window sometime back. That was the first pre-finished material which came into the country. We were always used to putting a material and then doing the finishing on it, right? The construction industry was not used to a pre-finished material at all.
Yeah.
Right? We were used to mishandling the material till it is finished.
So you kind of you believe that the construction industry has progressed and we are going more towards whatever we visualize both in our mind, in our sketches and the use of AI or different tools, we are going there. We are heading towards it.
We are heading towards it. Our construction industry is a fabulous job of improving its tools, its way of working. The management people have come in, the tools for maintaining time, speed, labor, everything has got into the picture today. So there's been a major amount of rush and impetus. One good thing also which has happened is that all the major builders and the contractors, they have started what is called as skill set schools. Skill development centers, where they are training people to, sort of come up. So all this together is making a big impact in the construction industry.
Thanks for that, Divisa. How does VEKA integrate with robotic machines or with AI and your construction industry?
See, presently we do not have the scale for robotic machinery in India at this point. But let me tell you, VEKA globally in India, we are highly system and process oriented. Our focus is on efficiencies like power, reducing wastage, manpower, inventory. So we basically use SAP, and then we have a lot of other analytical tools to give us information, data and insight on improving efficiency. So presently we are working on these lines. As the scales improve, we would definitely look at AI and robotics in India. In Germany, they do use a software called as Salonis, which also uses AI. But in India, we are not at that level as yet. But yes, we are well prepared and we are have the resource which we can adapt in the coming years.
So super. So we have some great news on the technology coming to India for.
See, VEKA globally is a 50-year-old company.
Oh wow.
So they have technologies for tomorrow. So we are all
They are abreast with it.
Yes. So we are all well prepared for tomorrow, for India and the world.
Great. Verma Saab, this is for you. Very important for all the architects, budding and seniors. Most designers want to have freedom in their work and dream of placing the signature at the bottom. We all work for, we love that building. We want our name to be associated with that building. One of the ways to get there is to have your own practice. Share your experience on the practice you run to help youngsters pick up skills to be a better entrepreneur. It's nice. It's personality driven. You like it or leave it. It's a personality driven. You want your signature to be there. What are the skill sets the youngsters have to pick up?
Let me tell you personally what I do. Okay, getting 100% efficiency or outcome or 100% satisfaction, rule it out. You are not going to get a project where you are going to everything 100% perfect. Okay,
That's important.
Rule it out. So I have divided my thinking into 3 parts as to what do you expect from a project. You expect a name, as what you rightly said, you need your signature below it. You expect money, definitely you have to run the office. The third thing which I call it is peace of mind.
That's important.
Which is very important, which takes the project so much further. And I've also been talking about it to my office, that if I get 2 out of these 3, I will go ahead and take the project. If I get my name, if I get peace of mind and I'm not earning money, I'll take the project. If I'm getting a name and money but no peace of mind, still I won't mind, getting into it. But 2 out of these 3, if I'm getting, I'll take it. Otherwise, I will say no to the project.
So the mantra would be that you assess the project.
Yes.
Think for yourself.
Yes.
What is in it for you.
Correct.
And think for it as what is the end user how he's going to enjoy that, and then get into it.
Very true. You won't believe it. I have not taken up so many projects of my close friends just because I know if I do the project, I'm going to lose the friendship.
That's wonderful.
Right? I have some of the clients with whom today we are not doing the projects. I've had a golden handshake. And I told them, listen, let us maintain a relationship, personal relationship, but professionally, you can go with anybody else, I don't mind. So, because it's no use you doing your work, you slagging your ass off, and still that for saying, I'm not happy, and you are never happy, and you are never this thing, then why the hell are you doing the project?
Right.
So you need to choose between these things and move further in your life.
But what happens to a guy who's starting? Because you're at a stage where you can choose, but what happens to a person who's starting? I mean, what are the characteristics? What should he look at before taking the project? Or he can accept all the projects?
Well, depends what we all started with additions, alterations to a particular house or a thing like that. Okay. So you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And don't wait for the entire apple to fall on you. Right? If you wait for it, you will keep on waiting. Start somewhere. And Bangalore as such is a very receptive place.
Yeah, I completely
People know
agree.
who an architect is and they would love to work with an architect.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I would say earn a name more than what you earn as money.
True. Money would
Put
follow.
your foot
Forward.
firmly on the ground and rest of the things will follow.
Wow, wonderful. That's a great piece of advice. So put your foot in front.
Yes.
Now, let me take Murthy on this. How do you convince an architect to use your product?
Okay.
And required skill set of your personnel to do the same? Like say, for example, Satish. So what kind of skill set do you look at him?
Firstly, they should be technically competent, having good personality and communication skills. That is important in a fenestration industry requires certain amount of technical acumen. It's not a standardized product. It's a customized product. A window, what you can fix on the first floor, will not be suitable on the 25th floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
The salespeople need to have a technical acumen, a good personality, good communication skill, able to relate to the architect's needs. And what we do is, suppose we are going to ACE group. What we do, we study what is the background of the architects, what kind of projects they do. So we do that, and then what we do first is we basically establish credibility of the company, engineering credibility of the company. We explain the design possibilities, what can be provided for their project, and also provide the performance benefits and sustainable benefits. So you just can't walk into an architect's office. I need to know what exactly they are doing, because if I walk in and waste your time and you do not know where to use it. Yeah. Earlier years, in my younger days, architects had the time to understand, I can use this here, there. They've got a lot of work with them. You need to be very clear. And another very important thing today, any company, whether it is in the fenestration or others, they have to be well equipped technically, because architects now engage very early in the project.
Yeah.
They do a thorough detailing. Yeah. Okay. So, and they want to understand what will be the performance. Okay. What kind of customization can happen. They would like to understand very early in the project. They have a very clear vision of that project. So what happens when you are well prepared, you develop trust. Yes. And you develop a strong relationship thereafter. That strong relationship, what happens is, it not only strengthens our business, but also improves the quality of the project, let me tell you.
So it's like...
And this has been my experience, basically.
So it's like, watch out guys, it's not that you look for a manufacturer or a vendor, but the vendor and the manufacturer is also looking at you. He's reading you completely, what kind of background and what kind of projects you're doing.
That's the synergy.
No, suppose I come to your office, I'll come very prepared that I know you're going to do this particular project. I just can't walk in blindly. I will have my own market intelligence. I will check your website. I'll check other friends in the industry.
So that's an important point for all. I mean, you have to be, you have to understand that the others are looking at you, just like the way you look at others.
And that is efficiency also.
Yes. No, I hate those calls. I don't know. I'm sure you would be getting those calls from various people. Sir, I'm calling from so-and-so office. We are dealing with wooden floor. Do you have any projects?
No, see,
if you get a call like that,
it doesn't work. Yeah. It doesn't work.
Yes.
See, one day I walked into ACE Group office. I called him. He said, yes, what do you have? Anything new? I said, yes. Then I walked in. I explained him. I have a mono sliding window with mesh and grill. I said, it will be very interesting for hostel buildings. He got interested. He called the other team members. A 10 minutes meeting turned into a 2-hour meeting.
True.
So you'll have to create that interest.
Yeah.
One other point, since you mentioned that, most of the architects, most of us look at you from the beginning. The one problem I generally face is construction. We take your costs, and we tender it out, or we do the BOQ. By the time it comes to construction, it's about a year and a half. So how do you maintain the prices for them? Because the contractor is already quoted for it.
See, normally...
And I face this on a daily basis. Because they say, sir, VEKA is not giving it to us at the same price.
Sir,
what do we do for them? How do you close the deal?
I'll differ in this. The contractors also do not collaborate very early on. That is a problem. They do not collaborate very early on. That is at the tendering stage. They do not collaborate. They do not take... They understand the specifications.
My question is clear. They have collaborated with you.
Yeah.
We have put the specifications, they've collaborated with you, but the product is going to happen 1.5 years later. then how do you keep the
So
price?
normally, as a practice, what we do, we build in a certain amount of inflation. We do build in a certain amount of inflation. Now, certain uncertainties are there, like the geopolitical situation in the West Asia. We can't help.
So you kind of
Like I had explained you earlier on, PVC as a material has been steady over the last 10 years. Now, but what happens? Glass or steel reinforcement hardware, they get fluctuated, but not much.
so you kind of insulated.
Insulated
And you'll keep our contractors also insulated.
yes, and we would always like to collaborate with them early on in the project so that we are very clear on the commercial terms, deliverables.
No, that's true. The basic understanding that they've collaborated.
Problem also now is that, like you were saying, it was an informal market. Now, there's a standardization with a company like VEKA. But I think what happens is during the tendering process, we might have specified VEKA. And then when there's a cost cut, which comes up, X number of months down the timeline, then I think, people start compromising on names like VEKA. Right? And then your contractor will come
I'll
in
tell
with
you
some
for an example.
equivalent.
Suppose you would have designed a project. You would have specified uPVC windows. Now, if you have got Mercedes along with some other brands, and the budget is for Mercedes, and you are getting an auto, because you have given that flexibility to the contractor, then very
No, that's
That's a part. But let me tell you one personal experience what we had. We were working for a Gulf-based company who came to us, and then we were to do a large project for them. Entire thing was done, everything was made, and then they shook hands with the contractor to start the work. And I remember the words with that Gulf fellow came and told the contractor. He said, listen, we are signing this contract today and we are giving you the advance, not for you to go and invest here and there. We are giving you this advance knowing very well that all the specifications which have come in this particular contract are available today. Don't come to me after 1 year and say this green tile is not available. With this advance, you are supposed to go all around, book all the things and keep them ready for the project. So, the way he spoke to the contractor while signing and giving the thing was so clear that the contractor could not do anything. He had to, because everything was specified, including the taps, including the tiles, including everything right on day one.
So it's kind of, you have built in some kind of inflation and things like that.
We build in that, and we have the team, wherein we can provide the required design detailing support to the architects and consultants.
So, lovely. I mean, that's good to hear, and I mean, all of us should be aware that, you know. Akshara, this is for you. Influence of your life partner, Raja, an architect turned businessman in your practice, in his practice. Would you want to make the architectural practice driven more like a business? Well, what is his inputs? How do you take his inputs?
That's an interesting question. So we do a lot of work. We have done a lot of work together as architects, and I think that's where we have a lot of fun because we both think as don our designer hats then. But I think if you look at a larger influence, I think Raja's like kind of acumen and drive is quite different from I think what the kind of equation that I have with my parents. And as an architect, I feel like, you also have to be someone who can think in scenarios, right, for a client. So this is a project and these are all the different ways that we can build scenarios in this project. And I think being with Raja has opened me up to a lot more of those scenarios, and different ways that, one can think about a certain kind of topic. So
does he kind of give you, I know he has his own practice, he has his own business. And does he give you inputs on how to make architecture a business? We were all, right from when we started architecture, they always said that architecture is not a business.
Yeah.
But if you don't treat it like a business, how are you going to pay every month how do you look after your office? So do you take any inputs from him, or has it kind of changed your mind a bit after your marriage?
I would say not yet. Because I think I'm more driven by, I remember a slide that my father had made in a particular presentation, which was, we all have enough to eat in this world or something like, it was a statement. And I think that for me, resonated a lot more, saying that, look, we all have, there is work for everybody. And I think the chase is good work. And I think it has to be. You have to get your money's
No,
worth.
I'm not saying
But
that.
from an acumen point of view, I think I've sharpened, yes, but I maybe not, kind of looking at it from a practice driving point of view yet. But maybe it's a matter of time.
So you're not looking at the practice. The practice is driven by business. You're going to look at it as why not the practice become a little bit of business so that it helps everybody. Great. This is for both of you, Verma Sahab and Akshara. Continuity of Indian architectural thought. Where do you think Indian architecture stands today in terms of continuity? How have we continued our legacy of Indian architecture? Are we building a lineage or are we still searching for one? Or do we have to really search for one?
I think the last sentence what you mentioned is the most important of it, according to me. Today everything is universal. The material is universal. You're talking of windows today, it's universal, right? If I show you the photographs of some olden era, I would say, you can very easily guess this building is somewhere in the Registan of Rajasthan or somewhere in the Gulf. Or if I show, this is somewhere in the Western world, in Europe or in America. Okay. Today, if I show you the photograph of any of the building, you can never guess whether it is in India or in Europe or wherever.
So what you're saying is we do not need a lineage.
The lineage, what you are talking about, has changed from time to time to time. At that time, it was definitely relevant. It had its own relevance of materials, time, the type of, I would say, labor available, the type of Raja Maharaja who would say, fine, do it like this, and everything was done like that. There's so many things which happened. And as time progressed, materials progressed, technology progressed, everything progressed, right? We have come to today, you were talking of AI some time back, right? So when we are talking of a progressive technology, my thing is, are we still looking forward to go back? Unless and until you are doing something like a monument or you are doing something like a museum somewhere which needs that type of architecture to showcase, then also if you do, it will not be true.
No, but there would be a criticism, there would be a set of people who would say, what do you leave as a heritage for your children when they're growing up? I mean, would you want to have the entire world as same? Like, for example, you go to a mall in America or a Burger King or whatever, McDonald's, it's everything is same. It gets boring.
Very true.
But I think the markets of Malleshwaram, the markets of Basungudi, I think they bring in that. So what I understand is we keep the heritage in its place and we build this. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that even our old architecture, for example, you talk the Mysore Palace. Is it Indian architecture? It was some Byzantine or something which was
Indo-Saracenic,
Indo-Saracenic, right? You take Bangalore.
It's a castle.
Yes. So they also brought in that type of architecture as per their times. Right? Now we are in 2025-26, right? We need to see today's technology, today's thing, today's availability of time, right? Do we have that type of time that you take 25 years to do a building? What I'm trying to argue, I'm not against that, but what I'm trying to say is that in today's world, firstly, that is not a need. Secondly, we do not have that type of time, efficiency, labor, everything to do something like that.
But probably we can adopt a few things like the Malnad house.
Different take on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what's your take on that?
I would think that, there is a need for us to maybe not hold on so tightly to the idea of identity that, we become rigid in the way that we think. But there is certain kind of, ways that we can learn from the architecture of a courtyard house, or even, the British idea of a bungalow with a veranda and the garden, or the idea of, scale that, that makes sense for, a kind of temperate, tropical climate like ours. And the idea of material and how material can kind of come in, which is local. And we can apply technology to that to actually make something that is, more Indian, more maybe Bangalorean, more Hyderabadi, wherever the context is.
So what you're saying is, suppose if it's a Malnad house or it's a Mangalore house or it's kind of a Mysore house, or So we keep that tradition in place and we build the bigger, larger buildings in its context, today's context. Is that what
I
you're
think there's
bringing
something
in?
that we can learn about scale. There's something that we can learn about rhythm. There's something that we can learn about facade. There's something that we can learn about fenestration. How did they adapt that? How can we rethink of, take inspiration from that, but
Of elements,
rethink
rather than
it
the whole.
in a kind of.
So, but can that be adapted to the larger buildings? Or
There will definitely be interesting ways, and I think that should be our pursuit as architects. to
so,
really think
so
about
you
that.
have quite a divergent view from your dad, saying that your view is it says that let us use it wherever possible and as much as possible.
And as much as possible. I think we have Indian craft to celebrate, and I think the whole thing is that we need to respect the history that we have,
Right.
and adapt it to as much as we have to for for the future. So
So I
that's
think
my take.
so. Your take is to say that the lineage has to be there. We try and see what we can bring in from our old architecture styles and bring it. Great, Murthy Saab, this is yours. How would you adapt to various requests from architects on tweaking your product to the Indian context? Like she wants to, keep the contextually. She wants to keep the Indian architecture at some portions. She's not saying that the entire building, or some buildings would be like this, and then I will bring in the elements of Indian architecture. What would be your take on that?
See, if you look at the fenestration industry, VEKA has the maximum number of profiles. We have nearly about 150 types of profiles, and all these are being designed considering the Indian conditions. And very important is we are grounded. We are constant touch with the architects. We understand what are the trends coming in. So
You kind of
we quickly adapt.
you quickly adapt.
We quickly adapt. I'll give you a small example. An architect once told me that if you do a corner sliding door, when you open it, there should be no mullion. We thought it is very innovative. We should do it. We did it. Then we were told we should do a slimline sliding door. The center is very bulky. We developed that.
That's something which is true.
Okay.
So
Then
you adapt to
we adapt
the requests
because
of the
because
architects,
ultimately we need to adapt to the market. Market will not buy what I make. So we do adapt. We are very receptive and we are continuously focused on innovation.
Super.
Otherwise, we will not exist.
Lovely. DV Saab, you're the man behind the design of more than 100 schools. Where did it all start?
Well, certain things do happen in life as it just happens. We were never qualified. There's no specialization in college or in anywhere.
True.
There was a time when we were doing IT buildings. In fact, there's a road, I would say the phase 1 of Electronic City.
Well, it's named after you.
No. All the buildings in that road of IT buildings have been designed by me. So that time you were doing IT buildings. You people did some good work in it also. Yes. And then came a time when we were introduced to some schools. And it so happened that we got a first school, second school. The second school got a All India award. So that sort of gave us a boost. And that got us the third and the fourth. And finally, we landed so much into schools that now people joke at me that itna to bachpan mein school nahi gaya tha. So not 100, by the way, let me correct that figure. It's become 130.
Wow. More than 100 schools. For the youngsters and for every one of us, it's important to be recognized with awards so that takes you forward in your career. Great. Akshara, this is for you. For the youngest mom in the group. How have you been evolving designs of various new schools that you're designing? And now that you're the mom, and how do you see Agastya growing up in your schools designed by his mom? Because for a son, mom is everything. And there's no two ways about it. So how would you perceive Agastya growing in your schools? How will you impact the design?
Actually, I think one of the most interesting things about designing educational environments is that you're designing for future minds, right? So you're kind of thinking as a child, especially, we love working on early year environments because it's so, there's so much about curiosity and discovery. And I feel like my perception of what curiosity and discovery is changing on an everyday basis with Agastya, right?
Oh, with Agastya.
Yeah, there is just, the last 9 months have, really opened up so many, kind of new avenues. He's been to his first school already. We dragged him to Chennai, and I think he enjoyed the environment very much.
That's nice. And so your perception is changing with
Yeah. I think there's I think there's a lot of sensitivity. You're kind of looking at the whole world all over again with like a fresh set of eyes, and it's really beautiful.
nice. I mean, that's interesting because, mums are everything. DV Saab, you've been a great teacher. Actually, this is my favorite question. A great teacher for a few generations who have learned from you, including myself. And how would you energize today's faculty to be a great mentor like you? And what skills should they possess to be a teacher? Or is it you just allow your students to explore yourself? Or how would you, like I remember during my college days when he was drawing that right from foundation to the superstructure, people never used to erase it because it was so clear. So I'm not saying today's faculty is not good. It is definitely good. But how would you improvise? What is your suggestion for them to be a mentor like you?
Well, firstly, what happens practically in the industry today is that those people, those architects who are not successful as practitioners, who are not able to run their own office, unfortunately, they go for teaching.
But that could be quite controversial.
It is controversial. It's a very controversial statement which I am making also, right? Because, you need people to teach who have a certain amount of passion. And teaching is not the same as doing. It's like the person who's sort of your cricket, the person who's teaching you how to play cricket cannot be a good batsman. Yeah. You're getting my point? So, that is something which people should realize, that teaching is totally different than practice. Number one. Second,
but you need somebody who's practicing to teach.
that is exactly what I am coming to. That those people who are teaching, like what you send the students for practical training, right? The teacher should also have some type of practical training under architects every 2 years or something, like a refreshers course. So that they know what's happening outside, they know what's the industry moving into.
So refresher course is a must.
a must.
And you propose that, why not they work for first 5 years or at least a minimum of 3 years before they come into teaching.
Definitely, that would be a great thing.
So here we go for the faculty to be a mentor like him. One is the management should take a decision to say you work for 3 years or you work for 5 years before you become a tutor. Yes. And maybe or may not be that master's or PhD is necessary.
That is very theoretical.
Very theoretical.
That's very theoretical.
And then the other important thing is you go for a refresher course.
Yes.
That's something which is interesting. And Akshara, you are a pretty serious visiting faculty. You went to many schools. You still go to CMR and a couple of other schools until your little son came into your life. And how would you bring more interactive class with students? The reason I'm asking you this question is to do with being a busy professional, being a mom. How would you still bring in, and what are the changes that you would want to see?
I actually also think, just to kind of add on to what my father was talking about, I think it's also very important for professionals like us to go back to school. Because I think what it does is that it gives the kids in architecture colleges broad perspectives, right? They need to be exposed to multiple trains of thought, multiple kinds of skill sets, multiple ways of thinking. Us as architects, we all have our, kind of skill set that we bring onto a table. And it's really important for students to be exposed to as many, to understand that there are so many different perspectives, and then to kind of train themselves critically to figure out what they want to do for the profession.
Are you proposing something like, people who are successful architects, practicing architects, take a 1-week workshop or a 6-day workshop, continuously finish from start to finish and take them to the sites and finish up so that they understand the...
Absolutely. Correct. And I think in today's day and age, I think the students also work very well in this small packets of, high energy time. So, and that's the kind of time also as professionals you can probably, spend more than every Wednesday going.
Because you would have lost out that 1 week.
Exactly.
And
So I think there should be ways that professionals also come back, associate architects in the office go back for juries. It's important for us also to give back to education.
I think this is one particular sphere where a IIID can get into the picture. That's like what we are doing something for education. We are treating education only for students. Right. Open up a chapter where we talk of education not only to the students but to the entire educational environment. And members of IIID, senior architects should welcome the professors and lecturers and teachers on the other side. Have interaction with them. Without the students also I'm talking about. I'm not, right. And then they can come over, they can work in the office for some time, go back.
To the faculty.
Yes, the faculty. I'm talking of why should we restrict our IIID education things for students only?
Yeah.
It should definitely go for faculty also.
No, but we have something called faculty development program. So within a span of 2 days, the outcome is very less.
It's very less. Yes.
So do you mean to say that we make a certain program and go to VTU and say that this is what we want this to be implemented?
Either that, or as we are going to architecture colleges, interior design colleges, making them members. So similarly, we spread our wings for faculty also, whether we involve VTU or not.
No. If you don't involve a university, the problem is they follow the same curriculum you're not supposed to change. So why not it come from the body itself?
So okay, that's a process. That's a long drawn out process which you have to walk on.
Well, walk on, and that could be a major game changer.
Yes.
So that'll be good. Yeah, I think we should try and put this up in IIID and see, because a 2-day of faculty development may not bring in much.
Yes.
Murthy, every architect is an artist first.
Of course.
I mean, at least we believe we are artists.
Yeah.
And craves for appreciation. Those little things like when you open a building, if you have the architect's name, we're all very happy on that.
You look at every project as a new monument.
You are a businessman and numbers are important. How do you ensure the artistic value of an architect while being happy with your numbers?
See, I'll tell you one thing very clearly. The building material industry will not exist without the architect. Because it is the architect's vision which translates through materials.
Lovely.
Okay, and if we do not provide the materials which meets your vision, then we are not serving any purpose. As I have told you earlier, we are continuously in connect with the industry, we are continuously in connect with the architects, and we are continuously innovating, whether it is India, whether it is in Europe or elsewhere, because architects are fundamental for the industry.
So why don't you get into the education system? Why don't you say, if you're doing a faculty development program, how is it that we can bring them?
Yes.
So that, it may not be only showing about VEKA or a particular, but we should look at it as a fenestration. Like how you said many years back, you went there, you didn't want a mullion in the center. These are ideas which can be given to them.
I agree with you, because see, if you look at the uPVC industry today, it is heading towards commoditization because of price pressure, dilution in specification. Okay. So if the industry would have taken this step, what you're suggesting, sometime back, then architects would have come out with a stronger specification.
So even now it's not too late.
It's not too late. It is not too late. We see what happens is, in our industry, consumer education is very important. And keeping in line with the architect expectations, trends, keeping in touch with them, technology collaboration, knowledge sharing, these are very important. If we miss on this, then we miss long time.
Yes, the knowledge sharing what he is talking about is something very, very important.
We should bring it to
because sometimes what happens, people talk about material perception rather than performance. They are driven by material perception. They say, oh, this material is very good. But they do not get into what exactly are its performance metrics.
Maybe this also needs to come in as early as in colleges.
In colleges.
Yes.
Because you mentioned the Z section steel window. That's what we studied, and we didn't, we've never studied about uPVC sections till we came to practice. Right? So,
No, it is the responsibility of the industry.
So what we did in one of the colleges is that we made a material library.
Okay.
In that material library, we have displayed all your sections and things like that. So I think somewhere along the line, we should encourage our faculty to come over on the FDP to understand the material. It doesn't matter even if it's one material. but let them get exposed to it. I think that's we have a word from you on that. I mean,
Yes.
you'll come
Sure,
on board
sure.
for
We
that.
would definitely
Great.
collaborate on this.
Verma Saab, what changes in our architectural and interior design curriculum would you like to see for aspiring students? And your thoughts on there are a lot of changes which are happening with the Council of Architecture, which they want to bring in. And one other thought comes to me immediately is my son who graduated out of architecture and finished his master's. After his graduation, he came back and he said that we didn't need 5 years architectural course because this could have been completed in 3 years. We kind of wasted our 2 years of time. So there are three questions involved in this. What changes? Second is, how would you bring about the changes? And the second important point is COA is looking at a draft which says you have a 4-year course, practice for 2 years, take an exam like the Bar Council, and then you practice. If you're not taking the council exam, you don't have to be practicing architect, but you can teach, you can go to the corporates and other things. So what changes would you really want our syllabus to go through?
Well, out of this question of 4 years, 3 years and all has been going on more after engineering and all became 4 years from 5 years. Otherwise, architecture was 5 years all the time.
Yeah, it's still 5.
It is still 5 years, right? Compare it with any other professional degree, right? If you want to become a doctor and you want to practice or whatever, it's so much more. Even if you want to do a law or a chartered accountancy, for example, it's not less. So, in a professional degree, learning never ends.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear about this particular thing. You know, after even 40, 45 years of practice, we are still learning. Today also the type of chat which we have had. Okay, I've
There's a lot
learned so
of
many
learning.
things. There's so
Absolutely.
much of learning in it. Right? The way Mr. Murthy was explaining about the new technology which is coming in is really mind-boggling. So, spending time on studies is always welcome, but it is a fact that students don't appreciate it at that time.
Yeah.
There's okay, why did I learn biology? I'm not using it in the rest of my thing. So those type of questions will still be asked. But we definitely need to tweak all our subjects to something which is more practical and latest. Number one. Second, we should definitely teach our students the business side of architecture.
Right.
How to run this. See, I've been telling people, till I was jobbing somewhere,
It is different.
no, I used to wait for the first of every month. Now I hate the first of every month. I have to pay. Right. So, there are various nuances of business which are never taught. So, we have something like a professional practice type of a thing, but it doesn't teach you anything. So, business or little bit of MBA type of a course, maybe as a subject or two, should be introduced so that people know how to do business, how to grow your profession, how to make it bigger like what the Western world is, and do all that.
So what you're saying is it's good to have a 5-year course, but build in more cross-related subjects like business and mathematics or whatever. I mean, so that it kind of helps you. And what are your views, Akshara, on this?
See, I also do think that 5 years is a very long time in today's day and age, right? I mean, I think today people are kind of, exposed to the internet, to that at a touch of a button, you get learning from all kinds, right? So I think there is that mindset of 5 years being a very long time. And I think we can, like, if you're talking about updating the syllabus to be more relevant, like my father said, is absolutely essential. And I think that can be cleverly done in a shorter, more compact amount of time. And along with, maybe adding more interdisciplinary courses which are business oriented and practice oriented, I think even the given subjects should actually be tied together. There is, we look at everything in silos in the architectural, education.
So what you're saying is bring down the number of years, but add in more.
Yeah, and they should all be tied in together. So, for example, we look the building construction is a completely different, topic. Architectural design is a different topic. Building construction will talk about timber doors and windows for one whole semester, which may not be so relevant, right? We should look at the way that construction and design can actually marry each other in one semester itself. So, I think the ideas of all those subjects can actually be kind of condensed very interestingly to be, relevant for today. And that itself will, I think, be able to cut down this whole 5 years to 4, and then of course dedicate 1 or 2 years to practice, which is practical training, things like that, which is okay.
Yeah, and then they get the degree.
Yeah, and then they get their degree.
Because this 6 months of training is very less, because in 6 months they only train with us for about 90 days or something, which is very less. So have it for bring down the number of years if possible, or bring down the number of years and increase the number of years of practice with. Great. And do you also think it's a good idea for also helping the faculty to see that if there is some kind of teaching curriculum which is involved in your in the 6 year, that 4+2, if they are wanting to go as faculty, maybe they can be trained in that. So something like that. So I think we should put this across to the universities. And to you, Mr. Murthy, what kind of skill sets do you need to be part of the organizations like VEKA? And do you fancy an architect being in the sales with VEKA or technical team of VEKA? Because I personally have felt that I know quite a few architects who have jumped into this side and they're doing extremely well. And the connect with us is much better. The access to the offices are much better. Their juniors, their seniors and stuff like that. So do you look at in your company like in the days to go by?
It's a good question. But let me tell you, a company like VEKA, it's a manufacturing company. So we have people who have studied polymer science. We have electrical engineers. Okay. Then we have chartered accountants working in the finance department. We have a strong HR. Sales and marketing is only one particular department.
But that's very important.
That's very important. Sales and marketing is very important.
Since you've already said architects do make up a large quantum of your business, would you like to look
absolutely.
at
I think they should.
field?
It's we didn't realize it till now, till you have put this question. I think it's a fantastic idea to have architects. One, they'll easily relate with the product and can also communicate effectively.
And also, every architect need not be only into design. You can have various disciplines in architecture. So, if we were to look at this, maybe we will attract different kinds of people.
I'll slightly like to disagree. Architects may not be able to design profiles and window systems. That again, for designing profile, you need again skill set in polymer technology.
No, I'm talking about sales and marketing.
Yes, sales and marketing, they will
Because some
definitely
people
do
would
wonders.
love to do it because architects are not
pretty good.
Yeah, architects are known for storytelling.
And absolutely. And in 1989, when I started my career, one of my colleagues was a doctor.
See. So architects you kind of agree that architects
and I think
you'll take this forward.
Yes,
great.
definitely.
So that's some great news for
provided the architects are interested.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. They are. It's not that everyone is in the same.
In fact, I have been voraciously talking to students that if you are not good in design, be very open about it. And there's so many other things which you can get into after doing architecture. And one of that is what Vish is talking about and you are agreeing about.
I'll give you an example. If you take some of the engineers, they study 4 years in mechanical, electrical or IT or whatever. Then they study MBA, then they move to sales and marketing.
Yeah.
No, but that could be different. But here what happens, you are looking at sales and marketing in the product in which an architect is involved.
Yes, I am sure.
Either he would have used it in his practice or he's selling the product.
Yeah, and I think that connect to architects, etc., sometimes does kind of, hit an instant.
Super. So we'll, there's one more kind of parallel profession they can go in.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
And one more thing I'll add. Sales and marketing really does not need a management qualification. It requires effective communication, understanding of the product, understanding of the industry,
I told you.
And most importantly, common sense.
Right. Which we have in abundance.
Yes.
Yeah. So, DV Saab, just going from profession to education, coming to association, we all just love our association, mainly because of the camaraderie we have. The role of IIID in your profession and life, and how is it helping generations? How do you perceive IIID to help people in our fields? For both of you, you want to take it?
No, go for it first. I think it's...
See, firstly, we have come out of that old thinking and old era where people, if they have some knowledge, they would just keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
They would not share it because every person was worried that if he shares his knowledge, somebody else will copy it. Today, we have come to a era where we have realized that sharing knowledge actually multiplies knowledge.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Now, taking that as a base
Yeah.
and then amalgamating it with something like triple ID takes you to a much more higher level, which triple ID has been doing for the past so many years also, where they bring in people from the industry, they bring in people from different architecture backgrounds,
Yeah.
from India, from abroad and all. And there's so much of interaction, there's so much of exchange of knowledge,
There's so much of sharing
so
of
much
knowledge.
sharing.
Yeah.
Right. So that is a great thing which is happening because of triple ID.
Yeah.
And our Bangalore chapter, cheers to it, we have been really doing so well. And what is important is that people who are busy in Bangalore as architects, who are busy with the profession, are taking out so much time and putting it into triple ID for the growth of this profession.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where it becomes really interesting, right? Because I think as young practitioners, and it's a serious profession, we tend to get so caught up with, okay, there's a project, there's a deadline, there's a silo, you're kind of, your mind is buried in your, drawing in your laptop and you're trying to kind of get things going on site. And then, you enroll in a professional body like Triple ID when you really realize, what all you can learn from the fraternity at large and pull yourself out of that shell,
Yes.
which can otherwise completely consume you. But here you are and you become a part of a larger kind of fraternity. You understand, from others and others' experiences, participate with trade. And it's really such an enriching experience on the whole.
Like probably Triple ID, Indian Institute of Interior Designers, is the only organization that I know of, a professional body, where we coexist with professionals and trade. Otherwise, it's only professional. But here, how can you do a building or how can you design a building and construct it and do an interior and construct it unless you know materials? Materials are so much part of us. And so yeah, I mean, it does help you professionally and as a
100%.
enrichment of life.
100%.
Mr. Murthy, how do you perceive Triple ID in general? And we are more interested in Triple ID Bangalore chapter, in the life of VEKA, and going forward, your advice to youngsters about Triple ID. How do you carry our message of Triple ID to the rest of your fraternity, and in particular, the Bangalore chapter?
See, Triple ID is a very collaborative platform.
That's nice.
And it is an important platform not only for a company like VEKA, for all companies in the industry. Because unless you increase awareness through technical collaboration, continuous knowledge sharing, networking, you cannot really, educate the fraternity about your product. So because ultimately what happens is, it is the architect specification which drives decisions in any construction.
Lovely.
So it is very important to collaborate.
And this is the right place to collaborate.
And not only Triple ID, in Bangalore, I would say we should, from VEKA point of view, we should also
take this as an example and
and take it forward elsewhere.
I'm glad that we are driving this.
And I'll just continue. Apart from this, we also participate in some milestone events in Kerala. From the company point of view, we are taking this platform very seriously.
Very nice. I'm glad that we Triple ID Bangalore has helped you to go to places.
Yes.
Divi Saab, you started Antarya magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I look at the magazine, I remember Pritish Nandi. It's like reading a nice paper or a book. Are you satisfied with the reach and interaction between professional and trade members? And more importantly, we have decided to go digital. So what are your thoughts on that? First of all, Antarya, your baby.
Let me tell you, Antarya never came to me as a magazine. We had a meeting in Triple ID and they said we should have a newsletter. And they put me in the front. They say, Dinesh, you go ahead and, let's start a newsletter. That's good. Every association has a newsletter. And that's when I started doing some amount of research. And to whomever I spoke to, they said, newsletter is like your newspaper in the morning. everybody will want it. By afternoon, it will be lying there. By evening, nobody wants it. And that came to me as a surprise. So then I was sort of worked on it. I said, listen, if you want to have something, then you should make it much bigger, make it in such a way that people would like to possess it, and its life should be much more than what is being told. That needed money, that needed background, that needed articles, that needed an editor. So I collected everybody, formed a team. Fortunately, that team is still working. And now Antarya is more than 10 years old. We have grown from
That's a lovely
50 odd pages to 75, 80 pages. And we have put trade into the picture. And we have been coming out with something innovative and all. And it is not the typical 4-line, 4-para type of a thing. Every page is designer and
Very descriptive.
Yes. We are looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to somebody who can take Antarya and make it interactive, not only digital.
Yeah.
Interactive in the sense, like, we put it on the net, somebody reads an article, he or she should be able to put his or her comments onto it, and then, somebody else talks about it, somebody else, and, grow it that way. Rather than it just being a digital copy where people read and leave it.
But what's your take on that? One should be able to read it on their mobile too.
Yeah.
So, going digital, what does it mean for a youngster like you?
Yeah, I think what is very interesting with, Antarya and probably also this podcast, right, is that we're creating a fantastic repository of thoughts, of work, which is such a diverse body of, projects of different kinds, so diverse from our region. Right, so it really kind of captures our geography and is now, available, we have like 11, 12 years worth of, fantastic work documented, right? And now to take it digitally and what I find very fascinating with what my father is saying is when we take it digitally, it's not just there static, right? But to take it digitally means that we have we suddenly expand the reach to so many people, and that exponential growth and can actually kind of spark conversation, which should go on. So an article written in 2011 can be revisited today, and then again, 20 years later, and each time the dialogue, there keeps changing. So I think that's very interesting. If you're constantly it's a different way to engage with architecture.
So to look at how we can make it more relevant. Yes. So why don't you have this in Mini Design Uru? So I think we should have a session about Antarya, a session on I'm so glad to hear that you like the podcast. And why don't we have a session, because it's in December, and we can have a session on Antarya as to what it was and how relevant, like what she says, and on the podcast, and see. That could be more interesting and engaging.
Yes,
right?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
So I think we should
we
do
should
that.
work on that. Yeah.
Do you enjoy reading Antarya?
Yes.
And do you discuss the magazine with your other people?
Not me, my colleagues in Bangalore, they do.
Okay.
Because the magazine comes to our Bangalore office, but I do read. It is quite insightful and...
Then if it doesn't reach you, I'll see to it from the next issue onward. It'll reach your office.
It comes to your place.
But it does come to our Bangalore office.
Yeah, sure. We will see. Because I think people, organizations like you should have it so that the spread is much better.
Yeah. And we would like to have your views. We would like to have an article from your side. We look forward to something interesting.
We are always looking for avenues to engage with the fraternity and provide more information,
Sure, we'll
insightful information.
Coming to we are almost at the end of the podcast, our discussion. What are your parting messages to all the designers and public who would be viewing this podcast? What are your messages? We'll go with the youngest.
The message to everyone is this is a great way to, I think, keep dialogue going. And I think dialogue is a very important part of design discourse in general and architecture in general. And, I think, I would kind of say, let's keep chatting.
The idea of podcast was a design dialogue. But knowing the two of you today, the three of you together for so many years, I thought that, education should be given the primacy. And I wanted to make sure that when people like you all talk, it gets imbibed in the minds of youngsters to continue or come into the profession. So, what's your
Well,
parting thoughts?
what I'm sort of giving in this podcast as an ending statement is we are human beings. We always look forward to something which is a growth. We always look forward to things which are positive. And we always look forward to changing the world towards the better. So, to all the youngsters, don't lose heart. Always be positive. Look towards the bigger picture. Don't get into small silos and get stranded there. Life is there for you to lead and move further, not to just stop at one place and crib about life.
Right. They have a saying in Hindi, Abhi bhi picture baki.
Baki hai.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts, Ms. Murthy?
My thoughts would be for the designers. See, designing is a very important responsibility, and every decision a designer makes, it affects the performance of a building, efficiency, sustainability, affects somebody's quality of life, the quality of living space,
The end
and
user,
the concept what you want to translate into reality. You need to partner with the right companies and the right materials. So what I would suggest is do a thorough due diligence, have a careful understanding of the material, collaborate more proactively with the industry.
And the takeaway for me from you was that you do a due diligence of the
On us,
architects
yeah.
too. I think that is a very important point.
We do that, but it should be vice versa. And
Yeah,
we
that
do.
is
We
really
have all the
nice.
facility, and we do that.
So
This is
great.
Yeah.
So here we go. Triple IDNs, architects, designers, the fraternity at large. We come to an end of another interesting podcast. Any suggestions? We will be displaying our email ID and you can write to us, contact us, enjoy the podcast and experience what we have spoken and what these seniors have spoken and enjoy the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Fun.
Thank you.